I just like about choked to death. I'm fine. Well, hello. Welcome back to my channel. Just Shauna here to talk about some friggin' books. And I don't think I really made any solid notes about these, so this might be interesting. AKA all the fuck over the place. And these were mostly read, or all read in June. I'm only talking about 3 today. I do have a few more that I have read, but they're for a little vlog project, so I won't talk about those. But yeah, these 3 that I'm going to talk about were from June. And the first one is Siren and Scion by J.D. Evans. This is book 3 of the Mages of the Wheel series, and it is a fantasy romance series. I am really enjoying this series. I haven't come across one of the books yet that's like 5 stars. Oh my god, my favorite thing ever. But they're all just really solid, and I personally feel a great mix of romance and fantasy. The magic is really cool, in my opinion. The politics that are going on, the overarching plot of the politics of this world and the magic of this world throughout each book is really solid, in my opinion. The characters are well developed, and I enjoy them. And yeah, the smutty scenes, the spicy scenes, the sexual tension that gets built up, I feel like is really great. I just like about choked to death. I'm fine. Forgive me if I look like I was crying, though. I wasn't. I was just dying. But yeah, I really like them. The romance in each book, it's like following a different couple, and they're all kind of intertwined and like know each other, and they're coming together and whatever. So in each book, you see characters from the other books, and they're all interacting in various ways to varying degrees. With each book, the couple, it's like them developing their romance, so they don't really get together until later. And it's not like erotica necessarily, but there are some sexy scenes that are like, you know, we're there. It's not like closed door. So I really like it, and I really enjoyed this one. I gave this one 4 stars. The main character, the heroine, Amara, she wasn't my favorite necessarily due to what I call the self-flagellation, kind of constantly just berating herself. I'm not worthy. I'm a horrible monster. Everyone should be scared of me. The things I've done. Oh my god. Like, after a while, I'm like, okay, I understand. But I still found her generally enjoyable as a character. And Cassian, the male love interest, oh my god. Oh, I love him. I love him so much. I just found him precious and charming, and I adored him. And yeah, I found the sex scenes, like I said, to be good, in my opinion, where I can handle like more leaning into like the erotica of it. That's fine. But you know, sometimes sex scenes are like a little over the top, to the point of being kind of silly, or where like verbiage is used that pulls me out of it, because I'm like, what? Like in the freaking Sarah J. Maas one, the whole balls tightening, where I'm like, huh? Or instead of saying like being deep inside of her, or like all the way to the hilt inside of her, like, oh, describing like being real up in there, saying balls deep, which is just like frat guy douche bro verbiage that pulls me absolutely out of it. A book recently that Ingrid was talking about, where the verbiage was her preening clit, and I'm like, preening? Like a bird, like preening itself? Like, what are we saying here? Like, just weird verbiage that pulls me out of it, because I'm like, huh? None of that in here for me, where the sex scenes are sexy and fun and like, ooh, yeah, cool, I like it, you know? So, thumbs up for me. I think I gave the other one a higher rating still. Storm and Shield. Wow, cannot speak. Did I give that one? Oh no, I gave, same. So I gave Storm and Shield 4, and I gave Siren and Scion 4. And I think this one was on the same level of Storm and Shield, mostly because of Cassian. And a DNF, technically. I did count this series as being read, because this is book 3 of the Phaedra's trilogy by Jacqueline Carey, the first one being Kushiel's Dart. I counted the series as being read because I got 73% of the way into this book. And I mean, this is a mass market paperback that is like 750 pages long, and each book is about that long. So yeah, I counted the series as being read, but I mean, I did DNF this book technically. I could have finished, like I said, I was 73% of the way into it, and I very easily could have finished it. I just didn't want to. I'd already been reading it for like a fucking month at this point, and each of these books took me about 3 to 4 weeks to finish. But like this one, I was like 4 weeks in at least, and I wasn't finished, and I just wasn't caring anymore. The traveling to and fro was just like too much, a little too much for me. Phaedra constantly being a martyr, like her martyrdom was just getting a little bit grating on the nerves. And also in this one, we started venturing into, you know, what in our world would be like the North African, Middle Eastern countries. And in this world, they're called different names and slightly different cultures, but it's obviously inspired by these very real cultures and religions and whatnot in our real world. And some of the stereotyping that was happening of these peoples, it wasn't super great. There was like a little bit of like a white savior thing that I was feeling happening, and just, yeah, I wasn't loving it. I don't know that I would say it was like the most problematic thing, or even that it was like problematic. I don't know. I can't really say one way or the other because the cultures that were being represented are not mine. But it just had a weird feeling. You know what I'm saying? Where I was like, okay, do we have to have her coming in to save the day all the time for the people of color and the different religions and cultures from hers? But again, on top of that, I was just kind of sick of traveling around all the time. Just didn't really care anymore. And that is my key to DNF. And then, I'm sure everyone's sick of me talking about this book by now, but Ingrid was gonna read it, and then Elle was also gonna read it right around the same time, so I was like, ooh, let me get a copy, because my pre-ordered copy had not arrived yet. Let me get a copy so I can reread it and buddy read it with you too. The Final Strife by Sara El Arifi. Yeah, I reread it. I still gave it 5 stars. I love it. I was able to tab it up a bit. I've talked about this so much, so I'm sure you know, but it is adult fantasy inspired by Ghanaian folklore and Arabian myths, and completely made up world where people have different colored blood. There are the Embers with red blood, and they are at the top. They can blood work, basically doing blood magic, using their blood to draw runes that do different things and like make objects move around and stuff. And they are at the top, and they are oppressing the people with blue blood, who are the Dusters. And then the people with clear blood, the Ghostings, who are at the bottom of the totem pole and grotesquely amputated as children, as babies, and are very much like held down. And yeah, so there's a lot of oppression happening here, but it is not based on skin color or gender or queer identity. Queerness in this world is very just normalized and accepted. In our main characters, we have 3 women that we are following, and 2 of them have a sapphic relationship going on. One of them is clearly bisexual or pansexual, at the very least bisexual, and the other one is a trans woman. And yeah, so there's lots of representation for that, and it's just very normalized. And I just really love this. I love it. I think the world building is incredible. I liked the characters quite a bit. I wasn't even like obsessed with any of these characters per se, but I just think the character development was done really well. And again, the world building was done really well, just integrated within the story without a bunch of expositional info dumping happening. And I'm just so hyped for the next book. Oh my God. But I'm gonna have to wait a while. And yeah, still 5 stars, so there's that. Maybe I won't talk about it for a little while now. I probably will though. And I think that's it. Yeah, because the other ones, like I said, are for a thing that I'm doing. I was like reading so fast for a little bit there, and I think because I was getting into audiobooks a lot, but recently the books I've been reading for this little project, it's just my fantasy romance deep dive, part 3. But they're not, a lot of them, like, they're not available on audiobook, so I haven't been able to listen to a bunch of audiobooks. So there's that. Yeah, I think that's it. If you have read any of these or have any interest in them, leave a comment. And of course, if you just want to say hello and make your presence known, you can just leave a little emoji to say hi. As always, thank you so much for your time. Hope you all have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.